Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to give about 10 seconds for tech to load everybody in there. It looks like we've got several people in the lobby that are getting admitted right now. So if you could take a moment while we're waiting for people to get shuffled in, please put in the chat your name, the role of your position, the organization you're with, and why you're attending this webinar today. And we'll get started in just a moment here. Great. All right. Well, it looks like everybody in our waiting room is entered now. So as folks come in, we'll try to remind them to add their information in the chat. But if you're just joining us, we're going to start off with a little introduction of each other in the chat. Attendees, just know that you are not able to unmute or take your camera off or load your camera. And so if you do have questions throughout the webinar today, please feel free to put that question in the chat and we'll do our best to address it as they're coming through. But to get us started today, what we're looking for is a brief introduction. If you could put your name, the role of your title, and the organization you're with, and why you're attending today. I am Sam Lichtenwald. I am your statewide coordinator for the Michigan Green Schools program. I'm with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, and I'm here this morning with you all, very excited to kick off the school year with our Green Schools efforts and really celebrate our students and staff across this beautiful state doing environmental education and environmental stewardship. So today we're going to go over a few things. We'll do a very brief Michigan Green School overview. All the information you're hearing today will be recorded and sent out in a follow-up email. It will also be available on our Michigan Green Schools website. So if you have fellow colleagues that you really want to get excited about Michigan Green Schools and they weren't able to attend this morning, please feel free to share that out. It'll be ready in about a week or two after the recording is ready. We have a plethora of guest speakers this morning. I'm really excited that all these folks are so passionate about what they do to help support schools in their environmental education and stewardship actions. And so we have schools that are engaged in this work already that are going to share what experiences that they have had. We also have a variety of community partners that are going to share opportunities and resources that they have to support your environmental education efforts. And we also have several county coordinators on the call this morning that do local celebrations within their counties and regions that we would really love to see more of those happening across the state. Then you'll have a very brief closing with extended ways that you can engage if you've been doing this work for a while or need some extra pointers for how to get started. And finally, we'll close with how to stay connected. So again, if you're just joining us, we are adding in a brief intro, your name, your role, your org, and why you're attending today. And we'll get moving along here. So Michigan Green Schools is a great program that is actually signed into our Michigan law, and it is open to all public and private schools across our state, pre-K through 12 grades. And the goal here really is to celebrate those students and schools that are protecting the state's air, land, water, and ecosystems. And each school is going to apply annually, and the materials that they are going to be including in their application occurred throughout the school year. The certification is for the school building, and they're completing that work in their community, however they define that, whether it's a single classroom, the broader school building, or even the community itself. And the goal here really is to celebrate and recognize those stewardship actions and achievements that students and staff are completing within their school. And the goal here, again, they're doing this through implementation of community outreach events. So there is a little history here with Green Schools. We're coming up on 20 years very soon. It was actually developed by a student-led initiative in Heartland Consolidated School District back in 2005. And in 2006, it was signed into law by then Governor Jennifer Granholm through Public Act 146. And 4 years later, in 2010, the program expanded through Public Act 301. And this is where you'll see the current state of the program, which I'll go into more detail here in a moment. Up until 2021, the program was managed through a nonprofit organization until they were unfortunately no longer able to continue administering it. But fortunately, we were able to pick it up through Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. And last June in 2024, they deemed that it was so overwhelmingly popular that they needed to create a full-time coordinator to lead the state with this program. So that's why you get to see me this morning. So the goal here is to be completing activities, and depending on the number of activities that you achieve, you can reach one of 3 tier levels. So if you're completing 10 or more activities, you will be earning green school status. 15 or more, emerald status, and 20 or more, you'll be at that prestigious evergreen level. Now, when you are certified, there are a variety of benefits here, but the physical, tangible things that you get in order to show off that you were a green school and your students have been doing this great work, you will get a 3-foot by 5-foot flag, which you can see on the bottom middle there. You'll also get a window cling that says the tier level you've achieved, the year that you achieved it, and it has our seal in the middle. And if you are interested in getting a digital logo, you can request that to put it on your school website to really brag to the community that you're a green school. And every school will also get a signed certificate by the governor each year that you certify. So we have seen an uptick since Eagle started administering the program. We have seen an increase each year in participation across the state. Now, schools vary how often they are participating. Some have been doing this since 2006, and we're going to celebrate them for their milestone achievements here. Some come in and leave throughout the time, depending on whether their students want to participate that year. But overall, we have seen this increase. And so I'm excited to say in this past school year, we saw 358 schools being certified, and the majority of those schools are at the top level evergreen status, with 167 of those schools reaching that tier level. I also want to point out the green band that kind of goes from the west coast of Michigan across the center and down into the Tri-County area. And I just really like to shout out to Wayne, Macomb, and Oakland counties. You all are still rocking it with over 60% of our certified schools being located in your 3 counties. So congratulations to those 3 counties. On the call, you will hear a little bit more about an extended program that has very similar tasks, but is a bit more complex, which is the Green Ribbon School program. I won't go too much into detail because Leanne's here to talk about that with you all today. But there are 2 additional recognition programs that are indicated on the map. In the silver, there's the Michigan Green Ribbon Schools, and in the bronze, the U.S. Department of Ed Green Ribbon School program as well. Now, all this work could not be possible by one individual. It definitely is a team across the entire state working on this. And that is where we have our fabulous county coordinators come into play. A lot of these folks have been at this way longer than I have been, and it's been a pleasure to work with them for the past year and a half, really getting acclimated to what is going on with our program and what schools and teachers need to be successful with this. And so I'd like to point out that on the Green Schools webpage, we have an interactive map. If you click into your county, a little pop-up card will show up. It will tell you, yes, you clicked on the right county. It will also share who your county coordinator is and their best contact information with the email. So this individual not only is your local point of contact in order to help you with connecting to community partners such as the folks on the call today, but they're also going to help you along your application journey. So we'll talk about timelines here in just a second, but I do just want you to be familiar with, you all have a county coordinator. If you don't have someone, it's me. And the application that you are submitting each year is going to be reviewed by this person. So you definitely want to be comfortable reaching out to them. Now, on that note, go ahead. On that note, how do you apply? Well, you are completing at least 10 activities throughout the school year. Now, we do want a well-rounded application, so you have to have at least 2 activities from each of the 4 categories: reduce, reuse, recycle, energy, environmental protection, and miscellaneous. So if you're doing 2 from each of the 4, that gives you a total of 8. In order to reach the minimum of 10, you can pick what the remaining 2 or more activities are that you are completing. I do want to note here, we are going to hear from a lot of schools that have been doing this and community partners that have been doing this. And although the first category does say recycle, you don't have to be a recycling school to be a green school. I just want to address that misconception right off the get-go here, because that seems to be a concern for schools. That is not the case. And if you are not currently recycling, but you have the ability to in your community, this is something that community partners can also help you with. So along the way, as you're hearing from our guest speakers today, if there's something that you're not sure how to get started in your space, just take a little note down or jot it in the chat, and make sure you're reaching out to us, because we will help you with those pieces along the way. One more helper piece, your application will be going live online January 1st through March 8th this year. In order to help you with this, we have created a Google Doc, and this is just a draft of the application so that you can start making your plan. And that is also available on the Green Schools website. You'll also be getting a follow-up email with this linked directly into it. And so with Google Doc, a lot of our teachers out there are very well versed with this program. You're basically just going to make a copy of this template, share it with your team if you have additional folks helping you with your Green Schools journey. You're going to document the activities that you're doing along the school year. And then when the application opens online, you simply have to copy and paste. So help your future self out. And I would highly recommend that you complete the draft activity document here, so that when you go to apply online, you can copy, paste, and drop it right in there. And finally, our timeline. So we're here today, October 24th. It's the first step in our Green Schools timeline. I'm hoping that this is inspirational for you all as we get into our guest speakers. And on December 1st, it's our next time milestone. And so this is the time that you need to be reaching out to your county coordinators. If there's something in our activity list that you want to complete and it's not explicitly listed there, it could be considered as an other green activity. And these things certainly can be included on your application, but you do need to discuss it with your county coordinator. So make sure you're shooting them a quick email, and they might ask for a little more detail, and then you will be able to include that when the application opens in January. I also wanted to note here that applications will close on March 8th. The reason for that is we need some time to process applications as county coordinators and then get your award materials ready and packaged and mailed out in time for you to celebrate for Earth Day. And so that looks like a funny timeline, because a few moments ago, I just said that you can do activities throughout the school year. So another misconception here is that you have to be done with everything by March 8th, and that is not the case. If you have very well planned items that you know for certain you're going to do an Earth Day event, or you're going to take your students on a field trip in May, and you want to include that because it's maybe going to your local landfill and your recycling center taking a tour, we want you to include those things on your application for that year. So you certainly can forecast items that take place after March 8th on your application so that you can celebrate with the students that are doing that work in that year. And we'll learn more about the Environmental Service Award and Student Summit at the end of our presentation. So with that, we are up to our guest speakers. And so I'm going to invite our presenters. As you see your slide come up, go ahead and jump right in, unmute, turn your camera on, and introduce yourself and your content. So thank you so much. Sorry, Emily, I'm seeing we're having a little tech issue. Ah, I see. Okay, Emily, try it again.
There we go. I'm so sorry. I think I logged in on the wrong link. I'm like, I can't unmute. Good morning,
No
everyone.
problem.
Great to see you today. Thanks for having me. My name is Emily Umbarger, and I am the Director of Sustainability at Interlaken Center for the Arts, a position that didn't exist when I first started the program here. And I'm also a high school teacher. I teach regenerative agricultural science, which is a science elective here at Interlaken. We are almost 100 years old. So in 1928, we started our first year at camp, and in 2028, we will be 100 years old with our camp. And we're about 62 years of academy. So it's an exciting place to be. Interlaken literally translates to between lakes. And so we're this little campus up in northern Michigan, about 1,200 acres, which is a really beautiful gift. So we take a lot of onus to be stewardships of this land. We've got about just under 600 academy students from all over the world because we're a boarding high school. So our academy is grades 9 through 12, but we also have around 3,400 summer campers that range the age between like 9 and 18 that come spend up to 6 weeks with us during the summer to study performing arts. We are, I believe this is our 8th year as a Michigan Green School, and something I'm really excited about. And it's just a really magical place to be. So I'm really honored to share with you some of the cool things that we've got going on here at Interlaken. And I think I'm going to need you to move the slide forward, if you don't mind. Thank you. So back in 2016, our Board of Trustees proposed that we do something with sustainability at our school because we were not even recycling. We were one of those schools that was not recycling. And no offense to you, because you have to start somewhere. And so they approached me and said, hey, don't you think you could start like this school garden program for us? And so we can start our journey with sustainability. And so we started as a school that wasn't really recycling and have really worked very hard since then to progress and do some really cool things. This is a picture of we call it my queendom, my colleagues. We've got a greenhouse. That's one of our hoop houses on the right. We have 2 other hoop houses. We've got a pavilion with an attached outdoor kitchen. We've got beehive apiaries and chickens and running aquaponics and all sorts of really cool things. But what's important to know about this site and our program in particular is that it is not funded by the school, and it also has not been funded by private donors. So that means I've been a grant writing diva, if you will, and I have learned the rejection and being told no so many times in my life, especially when it comes to this work, because finding money to do programs is really hard. But once you have some success begets more success. And so I have really worked very hard to write grants, to be successful at grant writing, and to tie this all into environmental and sustainable programming that's nature-based, it's hands-on learning, it's place-based, and I'm always being thoughtful of how does this connect to the real world for our students. Go ahead to the next slide, please. Since 2019, we have worked really hard to baseline all of our data at our school, and we used a program called STARS, which is a sustainability rating program for universities. There is now one called START that is meant for K-12 schools, so check that out if you can. We worked on focusing on local and sustainable food sourcing, reducing our waste. So those green containers are a takeaway container system that we use here at our school that allows students to eat their meals on the go without creating a ton of waste. We've purchased 60% of our electricity from solar panels. We do industrial composting on site. One gift of having 1,200 acres is we do have some land. And so we are turning in all of our food scraps from front of house, back of house. Every plate gets scraped into our compost system. And we're doing about 340 tons of compost annually right out of our school. And then that compost goes back into our garden beds and our soils. And we even partner with some local nonprofits and community gardens to support their composting needs. We just finished installing our 8th EV charger on campus, which is really important for us because we have such a diverse group of people coming here for concerts and performances in the summer. And we're trying to be really thoughtful and support sustainable transportation. And then lastly, we were having this epidemic issue of plastic water bottles being ordered by the case on our campus. So in order to squash all of this single-use plastic I worked with our administration to install about 39 of these water bottle filling stations all over campus, and have worked with them now to put that into our operating budget, so it's not an expense above and beyond that I have to grant fund for, but now it is something that we're building into our budget. Can you go to the next slide, please? We do everything that we do. I really try to bring the kids in and match it with our curriculum as much as possible. So when we're out in the hoop houses or in the greenhouses and we're harvesting food or starting seedlings, the students are a central part of that, and it's built into my curriculum so that it's not just something above and beyond or something we do extra outside of class, but it is part of class. The students do chores, they help raise the chickens, they clean the coops, they feed them, they collect eggs. We also have bees, and our students get to harvest the honey, and then they get to go through this process of learning how to market and design. They create the label, they look up costs for marketing and how much it would cost to sell honey, retail versus wholesale versus private sale. So all of these things are baked into the curriculum that we're sharing. Next slide, please. We do specific projects also to help with species habitat and species conservation, such as planting milkweed gardens that are designated as a monarch conservation space. We also have a Carner blue butterfly garden. We received grants from National Fish and Wildlife to do some lakeshore restoration, so planting riparian, water-loving plants. And we didn't forget the adults. Community engagement is also a part of the work that we do. So in the summer, from June, July, and August, and even into September, every Wednesday from 6 to 8, we have free or low-cost community events, which really put together this idea of farm to table. So I'll hire professional chefs to come harvest food with our participants, and then they make meals together. Or I'll hire a botanical artist who will come in and do painting with botanicals, or a cyanotype with botanicals, or poetry in the garden, just things that are related to environment and earth. All right, next slide, please. And lastly, it's really, really important to note that what gets measured gets managed. So we created a climate action plan, and it is a really cool document that takes all of our baseline data, and we identified the areas that we were doing great in, yay, and then we identified the areas that we were not doing great in, and we said, let's find those areas where the holes are, and let's make goals so that we can achieve success in areas that we are not currently being successful in. So we created 3 areas in learning and engagement, sustainable operations, and buildings and energy. And I am super excited to say that we gave ourselves 5 years to create this plan. We are on year 3. It should be completed in 2028, which will be our 100-year centennial. And we're about 78% of the way done with our plan here at year 3. So we're working really hard. It's required getting stakeholders on every part of our campus to help create the goals and to help assess them and to see them through to fruition. But it's been a really exciting process. And I see now that my high school students are coming into class, and it's time for me to stop talking. So I'm going to turn it back over to our host, and I will type my email address in here if anyone has any questions. It's been such a pleasure talking with you today and sharing a little bit about what we got going on at Interlochen. Enjoy your conference this morning. Thank you so much.
Morning, everybody. I'm just going to jump in. I think that's what Samantha wants. So thanks, Emily. I'm Leanne Weber. I'm talking about Green Ribbon School recognition, which often gets confused with our Michigan Green Schools. So there's actually 3 recognition opportunities. Interlochen is actually a recipient in 2019 of the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon Schools. So shout out to them. I don't often get to talk to past recipients. So I'm going to drop into the chat. On the Michigan Green Schools website, there is a tab called Green Ribbon Schools, and you can find out a lot of details there about the Green Ribbon Schools recognition. Samantha and I have created a couple documents just to kind of help you see the difference. There's a comparison document and an activities crosswalk. So I can drop those in the chat also. There's one of them. And there's the other. Can I get the next slide? So I think starting with these pillars is a great way to help with understanding how these programs are a little bit different. So when we look across these pillars, we see some similar language to what we see with Michigan Green Schools around reducing. But we also see a pillar that probably isn't regularly attended to with Michigan Green Schools, and that's around improving health and wellness. If you really dig into these three pillars, what you would find is that it requires more than just classroom work. And in fact, one thing that makes Green Ribbon Schools different than Michigan Green Schools is that it's not just schools that can apply. Entire districts can apply. Early learning centers can apply, as well as our institutions of higher education. So we have a little bit broader base of who can apply and also slightly different criteria. So that's why we've created the crosswalk activity to help you kind of see where the Michigan Green activities line up or don't line up with these pillars. The key to this application is you have to be making progress in every pillar. So you see the three pillars around reducing environmental impacts, improving health and wellness, and environmental and sustainability education. But underneath each of those pillars are some additional information, and those are called elements. So to be eligible for this recognition, you have to make progress in every pillar and every element. And because that is a pretty big ask, this is a one-time award. So unlike Michigan Green Schools, where you apply and get certified annually, when you are on your journey and you decide, I think we've done this work in our local context to apply, you would then apply for the one-time award. The more progress you make and the more depth you go into in each of these elements, the stronger your application is. Next slide. So I wanted to highlight our 2025 awardees. Lansing School District is a district awardee, and what really made them able to apply at the district level is a lot of their infrastructure work that they've done across the district. They don't have just one solar panel array, they have multiple that are actually charging their electric buses. They took advantage of the electric bus grants that were happening. They have school-based work happening. You can see North Elementary, some students working in their garden, and in the far right, some students at Ebersol, which is a nature center that's part of the district, and students doing some environmental learning there. So in this case, Lansing School District applied for the Green Ribbon Award. But there are also schools within the district that are doing Michigan Green School annual certification. So it's not one or the other. You can definitely do both. All right, go ahead, Eileen. I think you've got the slides. Our other 2025 awardee was West Maple Elementary School in Birmingham Public Schools. And what really made West Maple unique is it's not a cookie cutter approach. What first grade has integrated into their learning is different than second grade. They're not trying to do one big program across all grade levels. They've really looked at their curriculum and developmental needs and figured out ways to have something happening at every grade level. They have a school garden and work in community with their partners to make that happen, including a lot of families. And then they also have some partnerships where nonprofits come in and work with the students. I was just there last week. Why don't we go to the next picture? Actually, a week ago Friday. Next slide. Yeah, Eileen, who's running the slide decks over on the far left there. I'm kind of hiding back in the corner on the right next to Carrie Klenke. She is one of the Green Team teacher leads. There's two teachers leading that work at West Maple. You can see the kids were so excited. These were their 4th and 5th grade students who got to spend a little time with us. and share the kinds of things that not only are they doing in school, but how it's actually changing what they do at home with their families as well. So part of my conversation with Carrie, because I know we have a lot of green team leads, whether you're a parent or an educator on the call, but Carrie said about applying for the green ribbon application, which was very different than Michigan Green Schools, is it required a whole team approach. She had to talk to the principal to understand more about transportation and how they're reducing carbon emissions through transportation. She had to talk to the facilities and custodial crew to understand what kind of materials they're using to clean in the school. She had to talk to central administration and food service. And so it's a very different lift, which is why it's a one-time award. But it's a very exciting award, I would say. So there's 2 levels to this recognition. The state level is called the Michigan Green Schools Award. The second, if you are selected as a Michigan Green School, we nominate you to the federal recognition if it's available. So the U.S. Department of Ed has historically ran a U.S. Ed Green Ribbon Schools program. Currently, that hasn't been available, but our timeline and our criteria aligns with that program. So at any point, we're ready to pivot and nominate our state awardees to the national level when that's available. So if you're thinking, we're already doing all this stuff, that's awesome. On the next slide, just wanted to let everybody know that we are still in the open application period. That December 1st date is not just for Michigan Green Schools to get those other activities approved by your county coordinators, but it's also the due date for these green ribbon applications. So on that tab where I shared earlier, the green ribbon schools, there's a link to the application overview and criteria, and there's a form that you would basically fill out to request the application package. Or if you just want to ask a few questions before you do that, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer those questions and think through if it's time for your team to apply. And I'm happy to answer questions in the chat if there's any follow-ups there.
Thanks, Leanne. We've got Alex up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex Haddad. I don't know if I don't use Teams very much, so I'm not sure. Can you see me and hear me?
I can see you and hear you. You're looking great.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm Alex Haddad from the University of Michigan's Graham Sustainability Institute. And earlier this month, we piloted something new with the Michigan Green Schools program. It was a University of Michigan Green Schools Field Day that brought middle and high school students to our campus for hands-on sustainability activities. And first, I can't go any further without thanking Sam so much from the bottom of my heart for hearing out this idea, because she had never met me and I just cold emailed her and she was very enthusiastic. But as soon as I learned about the Michigan Green Schools program, I wanted to find a way for the University of Michigan to get involved. And Sam was incredibly open and supportive. So thanks to her help, we got an incredible response from participating schools. And I also want to thank our 2 pilot schools, Vandercook High and Beer Middle. I don't know if you all are on here today, but they were so flexible in working with us, even though it rained the entire time. And they shared great feedback for future field days. And I also finally want to thank all the other schools that expressed interest but couldn't be accommodated this time around for the pilot. You are all first on the list for the next one, and we really appreciate your enthusiasm and support. And so this pilot that we had on October 7th was a great success. We did exactly what we set out to do, which was that in just one visit to the University of Michigan, we wanted these schools to be able to complete 3 Michigan Green School checklist items and see real examples of sustainability in action. And so when the schools came to U of M, they learned about commercial scale composting and waste reduction. They tested water quality. They sat inside a carbon neutral house made out of straw bales and learned about the energy efficiencies there out of the rain while they were munching on cucumbers that we had just picked from the farm and learning about sustainable food systems as well. And so we did all of this without having to move the buses, which was very convenient because the locations, the Mathi Botanical Gardens and Campus Farm, are right next to each other. So they could just walk between the two locations. So again, we did composting and waste reduction, water quality, conservation issues, energy with the carbon neutral straw bale house. And then a little bonus was the sustainable food system stuff because we were right there on the farm. And these activities fit really naturally into the Green Schools framework. And the students were engaged the entire time. And for us, the staff, it was such a joy to step away from our desks and get back into the field, doing the kinds of activities that drew us to this work in the first place. So the session lasted about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours. It worked well for the number of activities we had planned. We provided the materials and the programming, and our pilot schools handled transportation and made sure that the students had lunch. And we really loved running this program because it made it easy for schools to earn multiple checklist items in one structured day. The students had hands-on outdoor sustainability learning, and we could connect the Green School efforts to potential career paths and sustainability for these middle and high school students. And so, because the pilot went really well, we're planning to offer at least one more U of M field day this spring, likely in March or April, and we would love to include your school. And so if you might be interested, please go to the link on this slide and fill out the spring interest form. And if there are other types of programming that the University of Michigan could offer to help with your Green School certification, whether that might be teacher training, new resource materials, or anything else you can imagine, we would love to hear that too. You can include it in the comment section on the forum or put it in the webinar chat, and I know Sam will get it to me. Your feedback will really help us plan sessions and create resources that work for teachers and students across Michigan. We're super excited to continue this partnership and make it even easier for Green Schools to engage with sustainability learning on the University of Michigan campus. And so I hope we'll see you at the University of Michigan this spring. Thank you for having me. Any questions can be put in the chat.
Thanks, Alex. And Amber, if we've got you on, you are up.
I believe Steve Schaub is on. He's the chair of the Envirothon committee, so I can defer to him
Fantastic.
if he's here.
Yeah, thank you, Amber, and thank you, everyone. Yeah, Steve Schaub here, Michigan Envirothon. We do, you can read the slide. I've only got one slide, but it's real easy for Michigan Green Schools, especially at the high school level, to collaborate with Michigan Envirothon because we do a lot of the same things. So one of the things that we do as Michigan Envirothon is we encourage the Envirothon teams to do a community outreach project. And a lot of times they'll choose a project that coincides right with their own high school or their own tech center. So it kind of slides right into what Green Schools is trying to do. But just a little bit about Envirothon. So we've been around for about 30 years in Michigan. We took a little time off during COVID. We came back 2 years ago. So we've had 2 state competitions now since kind of the COVID break, I guess. So this 2026 will be our 3rd competition back. It's basically an environmental outdoor competition for high school students. So teams are made up of 5 students with an advisor. You can have up to 3 alternates per team, and there's no requirement for only 1 team per school. You can have as many teams as you want per school. It doesn't have to be a traditional high school class. It can be FFA or science classes, environmental clubs, tech centers, natural resource groups, classes. You just have to be between the ages of 14 and 19 or between 9th and 12th grade. So it's a high school competition. And there are 5 study areas: aquatic ecology, forestry, wildlife, soils and land use, and then a current environmental issue that rotates every year. And this year's environmental issue is non-point source pollution. The solution begins at home. That's the title of it. So it's really ideal if they want to do a community outreach project on how their school can impact water quality in their community. It's tailor-made for a project that would coincide with green schools right now. So that's an opportunity that's out there. We have regional competitions. They're usually held in March, and we have 6 of those around the state: the Upper Peninsula, the northwest part of the Lower Peninsula, the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula, which is technically Saginaw area. And then we've got 3 more in Southeast Michigan, Southwest Michigan, and South Central Michigan. And then you kind of just go to the regional that's closest to you. And the state competition this year is going to be at Northern Michigan University in Marquette, and that's held in May. And it's a 3-day competition. So it's Tuesday through Thursday. You're actually on campus for about 48 hours, from the afternoon of the first day to the afternoon of the third day. So it's a couple of days out of your school schedule, and I know it's hard to coordinate that sometimes, but we're somewhat flexible with that. Let's see, and then the NCF Envirothon, which is our international competition. So Michigan sends 1 team to represent Michigan at the international competition. And last year it was in Alberta, Canada. This year it's going to be at Mississippi State University in Starkville. And it's a great thing to get involved in. I think so. 2024, our winning team was from Vandercook Lake Schools down by Jackson, and they had just got their green school certification at about the same time as they won the state competition. So that was part of their community outreach project for that team for that year. So it's a good collaboration. I'm going to have to jump off. I'm on my phone in my truck at a farm in Saginaw County. I can't stay on. I apologize for that, but Amber will be available to answer any questions for you. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Steve. And it looks like we've got Michigan Sea Grant up next. Megan?
Yes, thank you, Eileen. So excited to be here. My name is Megan Goss. I serve with Michigan State University Extension as an extension educator with the Michigan Sea Grant program, where we work to enhance the sustainable use of the Great Lakes through research, education, and outreach. So here, I have a photo of the Laurentian Great Lakes. It's this source of life in our region that we are so lucky to connect to. And it really is the basis of all of the work we do with Michigan Sea Grant. Next slide. So as we think across our Great Lakes Basin, this is a fresh water body that is shared between many nations, including the United States, Canada, and First Nations and tribal nations that have been in this region for thousands of years. The Great Lakes are a source of life in our region, and in Michigan, we are so lucky because most of the state is part of the Great Lakes watershed. So anything that we do on the land can directly impact this wonderful freshwater resource that's such a source of life. So if we think about our state, there's just a tiny portion in the southeast or southwest portion of the Lower Peninsula. And then along with in the UP, there's a tiny portion on the eastern side. Those are the portions of the state that are a part of the Mississippi River Basin. Everywhere else on the state, you're directly connected to the Great Lakes through our watersheds. And the Great Lakes are a very important resource. They provide us with so much fresh water, which is necessary to sustain life on land. So next slide. So as we think about our Great Lakes, they provide us with 20% of the world's surface fresh water. The Laurentian Great Lakes are the world's largest freshwater system on the planet, and they are connected together and support a lot of different life. Across the Great Lakes, there's over 10,000 miles of shoreline. We have over 3,000 miles just in Michigan. And there's also over 3,500 species of plants and animals that live in the Great Lakes Basin and really rely on these lakes as the source of life. So next slide. But as we think about all of our world's water, most of the water on our planet is not fresh, but we need fresh water to sustain life on land. So as we think about all of the world's water, and on this screen, we have 100 bottles 97% of the world's water is salt water. Then there's an additional 3% that is fresh water. And in that blue bottle, that 1% of liquid fresh water, that's where our Great Lakes lie. So even though we're really freshwater rich in Michigan, if we think globally across our blue planet, that is not always the case. So with our work with Michigan Sea Grant, we really champion the Great Lakes and wanting to steward this freshwater resource. So next slide. We collaborate with Sea Grant and many partners, including hopefully you, through the Center for Great Lakes Literacy. We're largely funded by the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, but our goal is to grow a community of Great Lakes stewards. This is a freshwater resource that so many of us rely on, but we all need to work together to make sure that we're protecting and conserving this resource for years to come. So we've been working together through the Center for Great Lakes Literacy on helping to make it easier for educators to connect with this resource and help connect their learners to protecting and stewarding in it through their learning. Next slide. So we've been working very diligently, and I believe Sam has dropped the link into the chat of our website. So you can explore resources and events now on our SEGO website. We've been working since March when our new website launched to develop a resource library where educators can explore different lessons and supporting materials from videos to fact sheets to printables with their learners. We also have upcoming events, including things for both educators and youth to connect back to the Great Lakes. This isn't just Sea Grant resources. We want it to be a one-stop shop for anyone interested in connecting to the Great Lakes. Next slide. So here's a preview of our resource library. You can filter it by asset type, topic, grade level, and subject matter. There's also, for partners, a way that you can filter by organization. And we are in the process of porting lots of resources on our website. So if there's stuff on there that you think should be there, please let us know. And we'll be building out a place where you can submit that sometime soon. But we have a lot of resources to get through in the current time. Next slide. Beyond our resource library, which is updated regularly, we also have a quarterly newsletter that shares opportunities, both relevant in Michigan and across the basin. And you can sign up with that QR code or visiting the SEGO website. And next slide. That is it for me. So thank you all. I really hope you consider how you can connect with your learners to the Great Lakes, this wonderful source of life in our region. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I am Tracy Page. I am the statewide aquatic educator for the Department of Natural Resources. And although I have just one slide on my program, I wanted to talk about a ton of the resources we have at the DNR that we can provide to teachers, to students, and to families. So we have free field trips at our 10 visitor centers across the state with our trained educators, and they have a huge swath of backgrounds and degrees. So you can go and have education programs with a forester, and you can go and have programs with a fish biologist. So definitely check those out and find your local opportunities. We also have a program called Nature Awaits that is for 4th grade classrooms, providing free field trips and reimbursed busing for public schools to get out to a park close to them and really interact with nature and understand our natural resources and build that relationship. We also have Project Wild, and Andrea will be talking later about Project Learning Tree, very similar programs where you are certified in this awesome curriculum and you receive a huge guide of activities and resources to help integrate natural resources in your classroom. Our Nature at School programs are coming up this winter. Those are our virtual options. So between Thanksgiving and spring break, we offer virtual topics that are live in your classroom with one of our educators and can be catered to your students and your grade level. We also have a huge resource born out of COVID called Nature at Home, where we compiled resources and activities and video content and all sorts of projects that can really strengthen that home to classroom option. But they're also great tools to be used in the classroom as accessories and resources. So to talk about Salmon in the Classroom a little bit more, so Salmon in the Classroom has been around since 1992. It started very informally. A biologist at the Platt Hatchery up towards Traverse City, I would say, Sleeping Bear Dunes area, had some friends that were teachers, and they tried raising salmon eggs in a classroom. Some other states had been doing this, and they wanted to try it out. Since then, we have grown to, I think this year we're going to be about 360 teachers. We'll know in the next couple weeks. So we've grown tremendously, and the program itself has grown. So we provide day-long trainings, a plethora of classroom activities, a teaching kit of materials, and all the backup needed to raise Chinook salmon from eyed eggs, which is about a month into their development. They receive those in November, and they raise them throughout the school year until April or May, and then they get to release them into a local approved waterway. And the teachers kind of build the program they can, and you can start small. So, incorporating that as much as possible into your daily class work, and having the students interact with the tanks and care for the fish and the water quality. And then you can build up to that release day that's as simple as releasing the fish to day-long activities with 8 or 10 stations and activities, and really, connecting the kids to that river system and that watershed in their area. So we have a lot of backup, a lot of support. We have a closed Facebook group where the teachers can support each other, and there are sneaky biologists and aquarium professionals in there that answer questions. We have hundreds of videos, again, born out of COVID, where we ran a virtual tank for the year. And that support network just doesn't stop, right? You have me, you have the Facebook group, we have tons of teachers and supporters and sponsors that are involved. Even if you're not in the program, you are welcome to utilize our resources. So if you go to the Michigan Salmon in the Classroom page, which is super easy, it's michigan.gov/SIC. You can click the current teachers tab, even if you're not one. And in there, you'll find all those videos. There's a playlist for students, kind of a student-facing playlist, and then there's one for teachers that can also be used for high school students as well. There's workshop sessions and webinars and resources in there. But there's also just background information for you to feel more comfortable talking about watersheds and our natural resources. And then we have posters and PowerPoints and activities and all sorts of other resources on that page as well. And just like Megan said, the Seagull resources dovetail into our program, and we dovetail into their resources, and we all kind of work together to help build awareness and build a comfort level for teachers to be able to teach this content. So if you are interested in applying for Salmon in the Classroom, it's for grades 3 through 12 in public, charter, in academies. And the teacher that applies is the primary permit holder. So there's a legal permitting process that's tied in with this. You do have to provide your own tank equipment. So our teachers work on, building sponsorships and relationships and grant writing before they apply usually, or you are notified in the spring. So that would give you the summer to work on all of that before you need your equipment in the fall. So the application period is open from January 1st to April 15th every year. It is scored on a rubric, so you want to be as thorough as possible. It's highly competitive, so we want to give you the best chance you can to be in the program. But all these connections that we're talking about, all these other programs and curriculum that you can be certified in, and all those pieces build up your Salmon in the Classroom application, because we know you buy into what we do and our mission at the DNR. So keep an eye out for that application. We do have a startup guide, basically a mini manual to kind of give you a full perspective of what's required, what materials and equipment you need, budgets, the timeline for the year. So kind of what you're on the hook for before you ever apply. So if you have any questions on that, you are welcome to reach out to me at any time, dig through the resources on the website and really see what we have to offer. And again, any of those other programs as well, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I can help make connections in your little corner of the state and get you the support you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And now we'll hear from a school.
Sorry. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound good.
Okay, great. Thanks. I'm Cindy Roberts. I am the Michigan Green Schools Coordinator for Bay County. So if you're an educator or involved in Bay County at all, I would love to connect with you. I am also the advisor for the Dow High Go Green Club in Midland. And so we collaborate with a lot of other groups. So please don't hesitate to reach out, because I would love to change the directory of that band on the Green Schools map that Sam showed you before, and get more schools involved in the Tri-City area. So please reach out to me. Next slide, please. So Dow High became a Michigan Green School in 2019 at the Emerald level, and this past year at the Evergreen level. And as a coordinator, I understand that 10 or 15 or 20 activities might seem daunting, but once the students get going, things are just going to snowball. And there are so many partners, as evidenced on this webinar, that we're here to help. So yeah, please reach out. Next slide, please. So in addition to normal recycling of paper and cardboard and stuff, at Dow High, we realized that there was a lot of chip bags and candy wrappers and granola bar wrappers going into our recycling and our trash. And so we bit the bullet and bought some TerraCycle boxes. So now we recycle some more difficult items. We also recycle markers and batteries. The markers we take to Staples, and the batteries we take to Midland Recyclers. But again, you know, it's based on what you have at your school. And so we decided that those things were important for us to recycle. Next slide, please. Students have found some very creative ways to repurpose and bring awareness to the problems of especially single-use plastic, as you see here. So those structures that you see hanging with the word Dow are actually water bottles that the students cut up and made into what we call water bottle chandeliers. And we plant plants in water bottles and give them out to the teachers and all different kinds of things. The picture in the lower right-hand corner is a picture of one of our homecoming banners. None of the banners or signs or anything that we make in the hallway or you know, walk in the parade, homecoming parade, are made out of paper. They're all made out of vinyl. So we purchase vinyl shades from thrift stores. We purchased a billboard and cut it up into pieces. And so that vinyl can be painted over and over again, and we never have to use virgin paper for any of our signs. Next slide, please. So one of the things that the students are very concerned about is textile and plastic waste. And in order to address those issues, students take t-shirts, new t-shirts, gently used t-shirts that we get donated to us, and they make them into reusable bags and hand them out at the Midland Area Farmers Market. We've been doing that for a few years, so you can see that we've already handed out 9,400 of those. That is a big chunk of textile waste that did not go to the landfill. And again, at the farmer's market, you're going to get plastic bag from a farmer, and so that helps reduce the textile waste and the plastic waste. Next slide, please. And so the students didn't want any of the waste products from making the bags, because you have to cut off the sleeves from the t-shirts in order to make the bags. So they said, well, we can't just throw that away. So they found a way to use all the scraps. We get pillowcases donated also, and then we stuff the scraps into the pillowcases and make animal beds for the animal shelter. Next slide, please. So performing waste audits are a great way to find out exactly what your school might need, what the challenges are. A lot of schools, the challenges is food waste, single-use plastic, and yes, sometimes even school supplies, which you will see on the next slide. But so we've performed several waste audits, and that's how you can kind of come up with a plan for, you know, what your school needs. Next slide, please. And on the left there, we've incorporated sharing carts into our cafeteria, so students can put their fruit or whatever that they don't want there, and other students can take it. So it also alleviates the problem of hungry students. And on the right, we found out that especially at the end of the year, there's just gobs of school supplies that go into the recycle bin or the trash or whatever. So we take out those school supplies that are gently used or sometimes totally unused and stuffed in the bottom of their locker. And we have a sharing cart in the main hallway where students and teachers can grab school supplies if they need them. And if they have extra school supplies, they can put them there, and that's available all year long for people. Next slide, please. So a lot of schools now have pollinator gardens, and they are becoming popular. And so usually you can muster up a lot of community support. We partner with some community gardens that come and help us, and we help them. And in addition to native pollinators, we are now incorporating a few vegetables into our garden. We're hoping next year to do some cooking and some other activities with the community. Also, there's just so many things that you can do with a garden space. You know, you've got different insect habitats, you have rainwater collection. The picture on the bottom right shows the students using bricks from one of the construction projects in the district where they were tearing something down. So we said, hey, if you're throwing those bricks away, we'll take them. And we used them to make walkways in our garden. So it can just open up a lot of opportunities as far as reuse and recycle, as well as just gardening. Next slide, please. So lastly, I want to remind you that there is a plethora of resources out there, as you evidenced by this webinar. And every year we have an Earth Action Expo. Past years, we've had over 80 exhibitors. And there's always more people coming forward. There's a lot of experts out there. And so we just keep getting bigger, and it's just super exciting to have all the community support. And it also means that you will have a lot of support on your journey to go green. And so I just encourage you to reach out to other people, and thank you for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie White, and I'm a health educator for the Bureau of Environmental Health at the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. And the work that our bureau does is we work on addressing exposures to health hazards from all different kinds of environmental sources, including air, food, soil, the workplace, and one's community home, and in drinking water. So our programs, we have a wide variety of programs, and I will put the link in the chat when I am finished. But some of our programs include Eat Safe Fish, addressing harmful algal blooms, clean drinking water and care for drinking water throughout the state, exposure to lead, mercury and health, and climate and health. We have a number of ways that we interact and engage the public on these subjects, including things that you might expect, like going out and tabling and things like that. But what we've also started to do is develop a range of learning lessons that you can request at this QR code and at that link. And I'll also put that link in the chat so it's easier to access. But the purpose of these learning lessons is to increase Michiganders' knowledge and awareness of environmental hazards, including the potential impact to one's health, and also to educate and empower Michiganders to take actions to reduce and prevent their exposure to these environmental hazards. These are some of the learning lessons that we currently have, and there's a whole bunch more in development, including one on ticks. We're going to do some more on climate and health, but these are also the suggested age ranges. And when you request one of these, somebody from our bureau will come out, and we have outreach staff all over the state. And they're really good at adapting these learning lessons for different age ranges, different situations. So if you have an interest in something like this, I encourage you just to reach out and find more. And that's it. That's all I have to say. We look forward to hearing from you and to working with your schools.
Good morning. My name is Crystal Richardson, and I work for the Macomb County Board of Commissioners. Our office coordinates the Green Schools program for the Macomb County schools, and I'm going to talk about the breakfast celebration that we hold every year for our schools. Any school that achieves Green Schools status is invited. It's mostly attended by the teachers. I did include a short a sample agenda so you can see how we kind of run things that morning. We have a couple speakers. We try to get a keynote speaker, a resource speaker. One of the activities that we do in Macomb County is a logo competition. Students can submit a logo that they've designed for Green Schools, and then the commissioners will vote and choose a winning logo, and that's the logo we use for the next school year. So that's a fun activity. And then we also do a Green Advocate Award every year. And the top picture on the slide shows a dad from one of the schools who runs their Green Schools program and is involved in a lot of the activities they do. So he was honored with that this past year. Then the commissioners will come up and pass out the awards by their district. Then we do some special achievement awards, and those are based on the different submissions we get and what types of activities stand out to us. I did include a short reel that highlights the morning. It's about a minute long. Samantha, is it possible to show that? Will that link work? It's at the bottom there.
I'm going to push that over to Eileen. She's
I'll
running
give it a
our
try.
slideshow this
Oh, okay.
morning. Thanks,
Let
Eileen.
me give it a shot. Is it coming up on the reel or are you still seeing the screen? Oh,
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Well,
Oh, here you go.
There. Okay.
are you seeing it? I don't know if the sound is going.
No, it's
Oh.
just stock music. So
There it
the music
goes.
doesn't matter. Okay, so I thought that would be the best way to represent our morning. We usually hold this breakfast on or around Earth Day. And I did include our email address. It is kind of a group effort that works on Green Schools in our office. Becky Perry is our main contact, but if anyone wants more information about how we do things in Macomb County, you can use the greenschools@macombgov.org email address. And we also, the last few years, have been doing the Tri-County celebration at the Detroit Zoo with Oakland and Wayne counties. And I believe Whitney from Oakland County is up next, and she's going to talk to you about that.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, Crystal. I'm Whitney Callio with Oakland County, and I am a co-coordinator for Oakland County's Green Schools program, along with a couple members of the staff from our Oakland Schools, which is our ISD. As Crystal said, for the last few years, we've been partnering with the Detroit Zoo. We're very fortunate to have this great asset in our region, and they have been a tremendous partner with us. And they do a lot of sustainability type efforts. So I think the Green Schools really falls right in line with what they do. Obviously, they can accommodate a lot of people. So what we've done is invited all of the Green Schools within our 3 counties to participate. We really limit it to the Green Schools teams. It's not a field trip for the entire school. But we've had pretty good participation. I've included a few photos so you can see our 3 counties were set up outside of the zoo as the schools were coming in. We have been able to secure sling backpacks. Our Water Resources Commissioner's Office has been a sponsor, as well as WM over the last few years. So we've given all of the students one of the sling backpacks, and then a few snacks in there to take along the way. We do have them bring their own lunches if they're going to be there over the lunch hour. And that's just really worked out well over the years. So they go in, and we've determined that having the ceremony be short, for one thing, because we had it a little bit longer one of the years, and we found out pretty quickly that the kids aren't really interested in having a ceremony when they're at the zoo. So we've been moving that to the lunchtime period and making it very short and kind of interactive. And that also allows the schools to get there because some are coming farther than others, with it being a 3-county region. So the zoo has been very generous. They've donated the attendance, the admission, so we don't have to pay for the admission, nor do we have to pay for the parking. All of that is covered through the zoo. And you can see they've given us this large tent that we've held our brief ceremony in. They provide, well, there's people playing music there. They've provided the AV and the stage. So it's really been minimal for what we have to bring, what we have to set up, what we have to do at the zoo. You can see in the picture on the left, we've created some signposts for each of the counties, and we have it broken into green, emerald, and evergreen per county. And then we list all of the schools that have achieved that designation level. So those are good photo ops for the school groups to take photos with their school name on those posts. Another thing that the zoo has done that has been really good is a scavenger hunt throughout the day. So you can see on the table where the chairs are set up on the little stage, they've been, again, very generous and donated all of these stuffed animals. And then there are zoo memberships, and I think there are Metro Park memberships, and just different prizes that the students can win. So they collect all of the scavenger hunt cards from the students if they've participated in that throughout the morning, and then they win prizes. So it's just really a very festive occasion, good opportunity for the kids to get out and be at the zoo. They have a great time regardless of what the weather is. That we've had rainy and cold days, and might be a little bit of a damper, but they're just excited to be at the zoo. So again, we're fortunate to have great partners in the area. It's been a really good program working with Macomb and Wayne counties. So we hope to continue this in the future, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
All right, good morning, everyone. I am Kaylee Vanderelzen. I am a sophomore at SVSU, and my position is a Chief Science Officer Specialist. I work for STEM at SVSU. We don't only run the Chief Science Officers program, but we have many other events like family nights. We run Girl Scout events. We have our codes. We have Team Science cafes. We started Camp Invention this last summer also. And then we also do SMEC. That's one of our big ones. For those of you guys that don't know what Chief Science Officers is, it is 6th to 12th grade students that are STEM ambassadors, and they're identified by their peers, and they demonstrate interest in STEM, innovation, and advocacy. So Chief Science Officers is an international program. I have a map up here for you guys to look at. We have 15 states that are involved in this program, along with 6 different countries. You can see, like, we have Kuwait and Colombia down there also. In our cabinet here that I help run, we have a little over 100 students, about like 105 this year, which is the highest we have ever been at. Our group is the photo that's at the bottom. the people in the white jackets are our leadership council. So we have leadership councils at each level, which this leadership council is our region. Then we have a leadership council at statewide, and then we also have a leadership council at the international level, each with about 10 to 15 students. All right, you can switch to the next slide. All right, so the Chief Science Officer mission is to engage in a global network focused on creating and sustaining a culture of lifelong leadership development, STEM awareness, and workforce and employability and skills through 6th through 12th grade students who serve as users of technology, advocates for diverse learners, and critical creative thinkers. So our goal is to not only promote STEM with our students, but also get them to promote STEM with their peers. So we introduce them to STEM professionals so they can see new jobs and different careers that they might want to do in their future, and then also tell their friends about that. And each CSO is going to do an action plan. So they plan an action plan with their advisor. They can do it in groups. This is going to be a STEM activity, a STEM event of some sort. If you switch to the next slide, I have pictures of that also. All right, so these are some of the action plans that some of our students have done. We have a greenhouse where they're fixing that up. On the bottom left is a flight night. So it's kind of like an aviation base that is at MBS Airport. And then in the top middle, we have a career panel. On the bottom, we have like a career fair. And then the two pictures on the right are where our students are going into elementary schools to share different STEM demonstrations and just promote STEM with the younger grades. All right, you can move to the next slide. Our students, they not only work on their action plans, but then we also give them different ways that they can get themselves out there for their future. So then on the left, this is one of our high schoolers that are in it. She wrote a book and submitted it to the Mission to Mars contest, and she won this at an international level. So she is now a published author as a freshman in high school, which is awesome. In the middle, she entered an app to the Congressional App Challenge at an international level also and won. This app was a colon cancer detector. So she had an app that could like trace colon cancer, and she won that. And then on the left, this is one of our students that graduated last year. She was invited to speak at Congress and the White House. So that is her speaking in the White House and presenting one of her action plans. So Chief Science Officers, obviously they do a lot of action plans, so it would be great to get involved with Michigan Green Schools and they can collab. So if anybody has any questions, I can answer those. Or if you guys are interested, I can drop my email also and my boss's email. And then if you attach both of us, we would love to connect and get our students involved with you guys. That is all I have.
Wow, Kaylee, that is so inspiring and such a great Friday presentation. I'm Andrea Stay, and I'm here with Project Learning Tree. And some of you may have heard of Project Learning Tree, but maybe not everybody. So we heard earlier that it's very similar to Project Wild and Project Wet. So the three projects work together, and these are curriculums that are NGSS aligned. The workshops are affordable to get educators trained. Usually it's about $30 for one curriculum, or if you're doing multiple in a day, which we're happy to set up, you might get into that $70 or $80 per person. So we definitely try and just cover the cost of printing. And the goal is to get these opportunities out there for educators, both formal and informal. We have, I'll start on this left area. So we have early childhood, which is the trees and me, and then the explore your environment, which is K through 8. There are also other curriculums for the secondary schools, for middle and high schools that are more specific. So I'm happy to follow up and get you a lot of information about those. I keep a running calendar of upcoming trainings for Project Learning Tree and also Wet and Wild. And we can also work closely if you have 10 or more educators that want to be trained in this curriculum, we can come out and schedule one specific for your area. This could also work as we have so many county coordinators. Maybe we can do some regional training where we can have some fun, play outdoors, and learn a lot about exposing kids to some of this great stuff outside. So that's kind of where PLT started, and what a lot of people know us for is that professional development. But there's also a lot of extensions that maybe you haven't heard about that I want to touch base on today. And this middle area on the PowerPoint right now shows our green jobs efforts. So this is, it's not just forestry and trees aligned. This is all types of green jobs. So maybe it's a hydrologist, maybe it's a wildlife biologist, even things like environmental education or social media contact. All of those things are really important in green jobs. And I also want to stress that these aren't just the college jobs, right? So we need people to run the equipment. And so those jobs are included in here as well. So the very first thumbnail on the bottom that says green jobs is for everyone. This is really good at that 12 years old to 25, where you're starting to really expose kids to a lot of different careers. And in that one, it has 4 activities that you can go over with your students. And there are some that are very practical, where you're going out into the woods and you're measuring a tree and you're looking at soil. So all of these can really align with some of your work towards your green school certification. And there are other ones that are more, learning about the variety of careers and what's involved in those careers. So just exposure activities. And then there's also one that's global sustainability level and looking at some of the UN work on sustainability. So I really like that Green Jobs guide has a lot from kind of, practical to more theoretical. And so you really get to practice some of those skills and talk about decision-making that has to happen for natural resources. The next 2 guides that are in that middle one are really important. We have one called The Journeys of Black Professionals in Green Careers, and then another one called Voices of Indigenous Professionals. And these both really stand up the idea of everyone belongs in these careers, and we want to make sure that that is open to them and that they can look at other people that may look like them and see their path. So both of these documents that I'm happy to link you up with will talk about, a person's journey, what they went to school for, what they started off earlier in their career and how that developed over time. They also talk a lot about challenges and opportunities. How did they find their network and their people and their advocates? I really like the Indigenous Professionals one because it talks about, what does it mean? How does this align with my values and kind of my culture to be in this role and to have this type of career? And so there's some just really good heart in that book. It does say Guide to Green Jobs in Canada. This was made from our Canadian partner in Project Learning Tree, but being in Michigan, we're almost Canada. We really have a lot of overlap. And so I would say the one thing to look out for there is, when it talks about salaries, it's going to be in Canadian dollars versus US dollars. So other than that, I think it's very transferable. The other really neat thing I want to talk about with the Indigenous Professional one is this is available in 4 languages. And so we have it in English, French, Anishinaabe, and Cree. And so that might be something that really speaks to your needs at your school, and we can help align you with those resources. Okay, go to the next one. All righty. So there used to be a program, some of you that have been involved in green schools and environmental for a while maybe have heard of Project Learning Tree Green Schools. So this was an effort at the national level to kind of do a lot of what Eagle has been doing so well as well. And so, this is one of those where there was a lot of funding for it, a lot of support. My predecessor, Ada, worked with a lot of schools. to get certified in Project Learning Tree Green Schools. And it was a high lift, right? So you had to not only do all the work, but you also had to go through training. You had to do quite a bit to meet that level of green schools. Well, Project Learning Tree has realized that it's a lot to keep up with the certification and the changeover in staff. And so what we're doing at the Michigan level is we're going all in on Michigan Green Schools with Eagle, okay? You guys have your one point of connection. They are the clearinghouse, but we have all these resources from the Project Learning Tree version that really align well with what you're doing. And so there are free downloads for investigations to use with your students. And so, you know, as Sam mentioned earlier, you have the different pillars or categories where you need to get activities. So if maybe you're really strong in the conservation and the pollinators, but you're not as strong in energy use, like let's pull up these investigations and find you some great things that you can do. So these are free downloads. I'm gonna work with Sam so that we can get these more accessible on the Green Schools website. But in the meantime, I have a way where you can get them from me as well. But strongly recommend. And if you were a past Project Learning Tree Green School, congratulations. We adore you. Stay with Eagle and move forward that way, and we'll support you as much as we can. This last one I want to point out is the School Forest Guide. So many schools in Michigan were actually granted land from the DNR years ago through the Michigan Municipal Act. And this is forest land that is meant for you to use as an education site to learn about forest management, natural resource management, get your kids outside. Some people are aware that this was gifted to them and some are not. Sometimes it's right next to the school and sometimes it's a couple miles away, which is frustrating, but still accessible. And so we work with schools that are in that situation, but also there are schools where they might have a small bit of woods or that they have that is just part of the school property. So whether you have received your school forest through the state of Michigan or you have a school forest, DNR has created this guide with a lot of partners to figure out how to use this woods and kind of learn from each other, right? So there's so many times where we can just learn some lessons because somebody else has gone through them versus having to experience that ourselves. And so this School Forest Guide, it is a free resource. It was created in 2019. So a lot of the people mentioned have moved on or have retired. So my predecessor was one that worked on this quite a bit. But all the content is still good. It talks about how to manage risks. You know, what do you need to be aware of? How do you manage the trees? How do you get a forest management plan? And what does that mean? And what are the goals of that? And pretty much the answer is the goals are what you want it to be. It talks a lot about involving partners, career exploration, and it gives a wide variety of case studies from schools all across Michigan. You know, some of the more rural schools, more or urban schools, younger kids, older kids. And so you can really kind of see what they're doing and have that as a starting point. And that can be really helpful when you're working with administration, right? And so I really recommend this Michigan School Forest Guide. And again, this aligns really well with getting some of those other activities for your Green School certification. So what I've covered so far, go ahead, Eileen, is just a tiny little glimpse of everything I could cover for Project Learning Tree. But what I have done is I created a Google form because I know that you're getting a million resources during this webinar today. But for Project Learning Tree, if you want me to follow up with you rather than you having to chase down everything with Project Learning Tree, just fill out that form. I think I've got 4 questions on there with a lot of things of what sounds interesting and what can I follow up with you on. And I'm just really happy to support the schools. And I love hearing about all the great work you're doing because we need you. The world's going to be a better place with what you're doing for our students. So thank you.
I'm from Davison High School, and we're kind of here today to just share the many, many ways that we were able to hit Green School status. So I have with me, sorry, I was running over to the tech department to be like, hey, fix it. And then I fixed it. So I have with me one of our students. This is Maddie. She's one of our seniors in our environmental club. And Ryan Kelsey. So we wanted to talk about how not one of us is able to run Green School by ourselves. I can't say that enough. So we think we have a really strong collaboration between our classes, our environmental science classes, the visual arts classes, our environmental club. We've been partnering quite a bit with our foods department, pardon me, and specifically a lot of these community partnerships that we've been trying to get a hold of. I know not all of them will be relevant to you if we list them, but like our Genesee Conservation District, we've been working with our Davison Education Foundation. They've been really helpful in terms of funding. So I want to say thank you to them. Anybody else that comes to mind?
Flint River Watershed, Genesee County Parks.
Okay. Yeah, those are really been helpful. They provide funding. Yeah, Flint River Watershed for sure. And then we use our National Honor Society to help us with recycling. That's been really helpful. We'll go to the next slide. And then I think Maddie's going to kind of talk about this one.
So we have a bunch of things that like students do for like I guess like around. So we have salmon in the classroom, and every year we do a field trip where we like release the salmon, and while we do that we do water testing, macroinvertebrate testing. Then we also like we do recycling collection. Almost every classroom in the school recycles cans, bottles, and paper. So 1 or 2 Thursdays every month we have students, both environmental club, NHS, or just like people who want to get service hours. They all go around the school and like pick up all of the recycling. We also have many like other field trips. We have some canoeing, kayaking. Just like recently we went to this one area for the Genesee County Land Bank. They had some goats that were eating invasive buckthorn. So we went to see that.
That was fun. Little field trip.
Then we also do a little thing. It's like the endangered species adoption. We buy like the little plushie and like do like a little donation for it.
And some of the students painted a mural for
murals.
Yeah, they painted a mural for those. It's pretty cool. We'll go to the next slide.
So in our school, we have like some gardens. We have both like a food garden, a greenhouse where we grow tomatoes. That actually gets used for our school's Pico de Gallo. Then we have a native plant garden. It has like just a bunch of stuff in it. We have a bunch of milkweed in there, get a bunch of monarch caterpillars every year. Then we have some outdoor classrooms. There's some there. That's like our main one, I guess. And most of ours are just like a bunch of tree stumps outside with mulch.
Nice. Okay, Mr. Ryan Kelsey's going to talk about that one a little more.
So yeah, so the kids are responsible for designing these areas and helping us build these areas, and then maintaining them. So it's a lot of work as far as weeding and planting and maintaining that space. They planted the tomatoes in early April, and now we're still enjoying those tomatoes in the greenhouse right now.
I regularly bring my classes. I try to bring my classes out when I can to observe the native plant garden in particular, because I like that it's added some actual biodiversity that I can talk about in my environmental science classes. All right, next slide. That one's yours again.
Okay, so in my art classes, we paint and draw native butterflies, insects, flowers, fish, all different animals. All the time we're learning about the range of these animals, historic range versus now. We're learning about the habitats of these different animals, and then we put them on display so the public can learn about those animals. We often work outside in the garden when the weather's nice, painting and drawing the flowers or the vegetables that we're growing. And then kids paint murals all throughout the school. And they're about a lot of topics, but recently we've done a whole series of murals around environmental science, about native species, fish, flowers, different wildlife. And so our kids are learning art, but they're through the lens um, nature, I guess.
Nice. All right, next slide, please. And then these are, since I teach the environmental science courses here, it's really easy for me to embed a lot of our green school activities. But with the help of the Flint River watershed, we participate in some chemical testing of the Flint River. We also do some macroinvertebrate testing. You could see in the corner there, one of our students is actually using Eagle's lending library, the Enviroscapes, which I'm a big fan of. But being that I do it with the high school level, rather than myself running the device, I let the students actually do it. And so some of them who feel brave enough to read the directions and kind of lead it, it's been kind of fun to watch them do it. So there's been a lot of different things that we've been able to do with our classes. We incorporate, there's a free resource called the Algae Academy, which we talk about having an alternative energy source through algae. That's been a lot of fun. So we're always looking for, there's another one we want to talk about. We have a clothes closet that we cover here. So we've been trying to not just swap clothes out with students that might just need clothing, but we're trying to normalize reusing clothing. So Maddie's actually been she's got a lot of ideas about how to promote, hey, why don't you just bring your clothes in and use somebody else's? I do another thing in my class called Wear It Again Wednesday. We're trying to promote normalizing rewearing your outfits more often and not having to buy so much sustainable fashion. And every year we get a new crop of students in. We're like, what different things can we do? What new things can we add on? So we're really proud of everything we've done. And if there's anything that you wanted to reach out to us for, please don't hesitate. Thank you. We're done.
Awesome. Thank you. And Bridget, I saw you hop on and I did give you presenter status, so you should be able to unmute and take it away.
Great. Hello, everyone. I'm going to just tell you right now that if I mute myself to cough, that is because I'm dealing with the cold that all my students have given me. So thank you for your patience. Hello, I'm Bridget Booth. I teach 8th grade science at Hazlitt Middle School. And I'm also the coordinator of the school's environmental efforts, including the outdoor classroom, our courtyard, and the Eco Action elective, which is all about outdoor education and environmental stewardship, and the extracurricular clubs. So the C Club, which is the Student Environmental Action Team at Hazlitt Middle School, is really kind of the driving entity for all of our green school efforts. So we have been able to receive Emerald status for the last couple of years, mainly because of the goals identified by this team. I'm able to do a lot of the work through my Eco Action course. So because, an after school club, you only have so much time with those kids. And especially, the kids that tend to want to be involved in these kinds of efforts are also involved in a lot of other things. So, they kind of help identify the goals, and then I'm able to kind of get some of that work done in my Eco Action class. So that works out pretty well. So it's kind of a combined effort. You can see that in the pictures, the courtyard has been, we're able to knock off a lot of the green school requirements by renovating that space, planting a rain garden, really focusing on bringing students out there for, cross-curricular efforts. You can see some kids kind of reading and just having some quiet time out in that space. And then I also participate in Salmon in the Classroom through the DNR. So that lends itself nicely to the green school criteria because there's all kinds of curriculum and built-in activities that go with that, including the release, which is an excellent way to get kids out and experiencing their local watershed and doing the water quality testing and all the assessing that you want them to be able to do with those kinds of efforts. And then a couple years ago, I was really fortunate to be part of a fellowship program through the North American Association for Environmental Education. And it's the Sea Change Fellowship, which Eileen was part of the previous cohort. And I, for that, had to develop a kind of a community action project, and mine was around cross-curricular climate curriculum. So I developed this kind of program for the middle school, specifically the 8th grade. And I really made student voice the center of that. So I identified a leadership team of students that helped me build the curriculum and talk to the teachers and create this whole concept that has then since grown. And for that effort, I recruited some students from the high school to kind of help with that project. And that has since really blossomed into some amazing student-led action for Hazlitt School District. So they developed the SEAL program, which is the Student Environmental Activism Leadership. And so now you can see we have this C to SEAL kind of bridge between the middle school and the high school environmental groups. And so when they get into the high school, they get the L for the leadership. And that's really a concerted effort for us here at the Hazlitt School District of trying to really build this momentum of environmental action from elementary school through high school. And so some of those SEAL leaders have really just done amazing things. They, spoke to the school board really around the green school designation, just, letting the school board know all of the work we were doing and what it meant to be a green school for the state. And that led to them advocating for more sustainability efforts in our district, which led to the development of a district sustainability team on which those students now sit. And we just had a meeting yesterday with representatives from each building and our superintendent, and those students led the meeting. So they are doing the sustainability work for the district. And it's really been pretty amazing to see them go from just sort of being like recruited into this climate education project to like really taking it to the next level. And then you can see in the bottom right corner there, Harrison and Maya are actually speaking from the Capitol lawn on Climate Day of Action, which was part of the Michigan Climate Summit. And so their work now has really progressed to this state level where they're working with other youth action groups from around the state of Michigan, and that is really growing. So the Green School program is really such an amazing way for students to like dig into projects, and then they are able to just scale it up in ways that if you just give them the space to do it, they do it. And so it's really just a great way to kind of introduce students to the kinds of things that should be happening in every school, right? And it allows them to kind of think about, yeah, this is important. This is what we should be doing at school, and this is what we should be learning about. I tried to get Maya and Harrison to join me today, but it's at the middle of the school day, and they are both, of course, taking a million AP classes, so it was kind of hard to get them out of their classes today. But that's kind of a lot of the green school work we've been doing at Hazlitt, and every year, new recruits and new ideas. And so I'm really excited. The C Club this year is already coming up with some great ideas for how we're going to meet the green school criteria for this next round. So really exciting. So if you want to go to the next slide, great, thank you. So the other hat that I wear is I am the state lead for an organization called Subject to Climate. And this really came from that fellowship work. So I can't say enough how important it is for teachers to kind of find the networks, right? Find the organizations that are supporting this work because you can get a lot of help to do it. You're not on your own. And so one of those is NAAEE, which is the National Environmental Education Organization. But of course, MAO is the state organization. I'm sure that's been mentioned previously, the Michigan Alliance for Environmental and Outdoor Education. And I've been involved with MAO for a long time. And MAO worked with EAGLE and MyCan, the Michigan Climate Action Network, to work with Subject to Climate to really develop a state-specific dashboard website of climate education resources. So this is really a one-stop shop for anything you might need to teach climate, all curated by grade level and standard and by activity type. You can find videos and full lesson plans and all kinds of amazing things, and Michigan-specific resources. So if you are, new to climate education, or even if you have been doing it a bit, but just are looking for new material, please go visit the hub at michiganclimateeducation.org and check out, there's so many different resources. There's teacher guides, there's, news for students, there's newsletters you can sign up for. I encourage you to make an account and start bookmarking resources, and reach out if you have questions or looking for ideas for how to incorporate climate education. It's another great way to meet some of the green school criteria. That other category, is pretty open. So if you're working with your regional coordinator for the criteria and, working on doing some climate action projects as part of your green school work, I feel like that is super meaningful. And there's so many ideas of what you can do with students to make them, empower them with climate action by using the resources on this hub. So please reach out if you have any questions. Eileen and Sam are both also very familiar with the hub. They're part of it from the very beginning. So just check it out and see how it might help in your green school efforts.
Thank you, Bridget. All right,
Yeah.
Sam, back to you.
Thank you, Bridget, so much. And echoing from what all of the great work Bridget's done with her students, Harrison and Maya are actually part of this Miles group that I'm going to share their slides. Just like her students, Nathania is from Macomb International Academy, and she is taking a pretty hefty test today, so she was unable to share these. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Miles. It's the Michigan Youth Leadership for Environmental Stewardship, and this is a very active statewide group of high school students. They began as a 4-H club in the Novi area, and they were so excited about the work that they were doing and the reach that they were having that they wanted to start connecting with students statewide. So you'll get these links in our follow-up email here in the next week or so. But if you are really excited and want to take a picture quick of the QR codes, they are looking for a few things out of you. So if you are interested in joining the team, they are looking for both high school students and adult advisors to help. Now, we definitely want to be student-centered here, just like Bridget's students are leading the way. That is the goal of this group as well. They are also looking for students that are already involved at their school, whether it's an ecology or an environmental action club, whatever your eco team might be. They are building a statewide database to really catalog who are the student groups across the state that are engaged in this action. And finally, at the bottom of the slide here, you'll see that they created their very first marketing campaign through Instagram. So they are at miles.youthcouncil. And I love their little slogan. It's "Together We'll Go Far," which is where the MILES acronym is coming from. Next slide, please. So part of the last year with this group, the outreach committee has done a lot of work that lines very closely with what you've seen on the webinar today, utilizing a variety of programs that we can collaborate on and get Michigan Green School activities checked off your list on your application for. And so these students put together a toolkit for environmental action. This is geared specifically towards students, and you'll see just a pile of resources in this toolkit. If you could go to the next slide, please. I believe there's an example. So the toolkit includes not only the description of what the program is and strategies, but there's also, I'm going to have you go one slide further. There's also some guides for you to be able to make a copy of. So you'll see in the top right there, there's these very simple guides that will, whatever your interest is, you can really dive down the rabbit hole with these. You can expand on them. If you make a copy of the Google Doc, you can create it as your own, whatever is working in your space. So a lot of opportunities with that guide, and I'm just so grateful that the Miles group has been so interested in Michigan Green Schools and helping to advance our work and make those connections for students across the state as well.
All right, we are on to me to kind of wrap out just a couple of things. You have heard so many resources today, so I'm not gonna, I guess I'm just gonna like add on to the fire hose real quick. In addition to all these great things that our partners organizations offer, we do have a lot of resources through Eagle Classroom to support your Michigan Green Schools work as well. So if you are not familiar with all the environmental resources that Eagle offers, we facilitate the Michigan Environmental Education Curriculum Support resources. So the MEECS curriculum, if you are looking for lessons, primarily for middle and high school age students, there's a few that can be scaled down to kind of 4th or 5th grade level. Those are a wonderful way to meet that requirement of teaching lessons about Michigan's environment. We talked a little bit, I think Pam Ruggiero mentioned the Eagle Classroom Lending Station. Another Pam Howd, who's also on the call, is on our team, manages that program. So if you need models or testing equipment or resources to teach about the environment, we have stuff you can borrow at no cost that's available to anybody. We do have a bunch of on-demand videos and training resources for the lending station, videos about careers at our department. And then I'll mention the two items here on the bottom, the Michigan Student Sustainability Summit and Earth Day in a little bit more detail, but all of this info is at michigan.gov/Eagle Classroom. That can also help you get to the Michigan Green Schools Hub if you are trying to get there. One of the activities that many of our schools do that is specifically called out is to celebrate Earth Day. We do have a couple of ways to help you do that. A lot of communities do really cool things on their own. If you're looking for ideas for kindergarten through 5th grade, every year Eagle sponsors an Earth Day poster contest. Pam Howd, who I mentioned, is on the call. She facilitates that. Information about the Earth Day poster contest will be out very, very soon. We try to get that out in early November so that if you happen to have, some downtime or some weird class periods leading up to the holidays, for example, you can slide in this poster contest activity as a way for your K through 5th students to, work towards their green school certification. So the poster contest is coming up. Also, very soon you will see nominations come out for the Environmental Service Award, which is a recognition that we give to really outstanding groups of students in middle school and one group in high school. And then finally, the Michigan Sustainability Summit. If you are looking for a way to kind of celebrate the work that your students are doing, to have them get a chance to learn more about different environmental topics and network with other professionals, that Miles group that Sam had just talked about has been working with us as well as some other partners in other state agencies to develop the Michigan Student Sustainability Summit. So it's an opportunity for 6th through 12th grade students across Michigan to come together, to learn from experts, to network with other environmental leaders, to share some of the work that they've been doing in their schools and explore environmental careers. So we've got breakout sessions, we've got presentations, we've got field experiences, we've got awards, really cool event that's coming up on May 8th at the Kellogg Conference Center at MSU. So if you're interested in that, registration is going to open in January. Info is on our website. We would love to see you there. We're just opening up fundraising to try to get some transportation stipends to support that. I'll just quickly say we get a lot of requests now because we do have a lot of resources for middle and high school students. So we have gotten some requests about, well, could we do some kind of elementary day? If you have ideas of things you want to see for elementary students, please feel free to reach out to Sam and I, and we would be happy to talk about what we can do to expand those offerings as well. So with that, Sam, I'm going to turn it back over to you to wrap us up.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. I've been trying to monitor the chat a little bit as well. So I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody that's on call, presenters, attendees, whether it's the first time you're hearing about Michigan Green Schools and you're just tuning in to be able to get a little smattering of what we have to offer, or you've been a longtime veteran that's known about green schools even longer than myself and Eileen. I just thank you for everything that you have been doing and will be doing in the future in your communities and with your students. So there's a couple ways to continue your journey from here. Get involved beyond school certification each year. We have started this past year a Michigan Green Schools Ambassadors team. And so this is anywhere from students to parents, teachers, administrators, and those in the community that just want to get involved. You feel confident in your green school knowledge, and you maybe want to be a mentor to newbies along the way to try to help make that network even larger on the map each year that we are doing this. We also just launched, Bridget mentioned, the Michigan Alliance for Environmental and Outdoor Education, or MAYO. I am very heavily involved with MAYO as well. So if you ever have questions about that or want to get involved there, please let me know. But we just launched on MAYO's page a Michigan Green Schools announcements blog. And so you're actually able to get very rapid fire opportunities sent out to you on that page a little bit faster than our every other month or even longer sometimes with our newsletter. That only goes out every so often. So check out this page for opportunities in your area and resources that are available. We also are very excited to announce that the My Green School Guide is coming soon. So several of you on this call participated in some surveys and piloting opportunities this summer with our My Healthy Climate Fellow, Charlotte Nonawayworm. They've just finished up their service term for this past year, and we're hoping to see them again soon to do some piloting with this guide in your schools across the state. So in our follow-up email, you guys will get links to some drafts of this, and hopefully we'll see it on the State of Michigan website soon. Two more items to briefly mention here about getting involved. I mentioned that we're about 20 years into the program. We're about to celebrate a huge milestone. And unfortunately, I do not have all of the participation data over the years. Some county coordinators have been doing this since the beginning, so they've been able to send me their full list since 2006, but I'm still missing a lot of information. So if you know that you've been a green school for years prior to 2021, please let me know by taking this survey that'll be linked in the email, and that way we can celebrate you along these milestones of achievement throughout the years. Also, if you're a community partner on the call, we are hoping to connect our county coordinators and our schools with you locally. So we have a survey available for 50 plus ways, just scratching the surface there on how you can support schools in their green journey. If you fill out this survey, we'll make sure to connect you to schools that are looking for support that you can offer. And finally, to stay in the loop, we have a variety of spaces where you can gain information. If you want to learn more about the specific activities and also apply in the winter, please visit our online portal. We have a newsletter that comes out where we really highlight the timeline of green school activities and requirements. We also really like to showcase our schools across the state that are participating in green school efforts. I mentioned the Green Schools announcements page. If you have something that you would like to post on there, please let me know. I definitely want to send you to your county coordinator first. If you're looking for local resources, they're going to be that person in your area that can be that local support and help you with your application. And of course, you can always reach out to me for any questions that you have about the program, or if you'd like to get more involved. So with that, I just want to say again, thank you so much. Eileen has been a lifesaver today with a lot of tech support on the call. Thank you to all of our wonderful presenters. I put in the chat, but again, this is just scratching the surface of all the people that are willing to help and excited to help you with your Green Schools efforts in your regions. So without further ado, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and into the weekend.